What is going on, my sweet fellas, my sweet lady fellas? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, we got some pretty hype news. Those artworks we saw earlier. What was that? Yesterday? It was literally yesterday, and I'm just going crazy. Or maybe it was 2 days ago. We saw the Rose Dragon artwork, and we also saw a new Ib World Chalice Monster artwork. And lo and behold, I guess they might be for Link Vrains Pack 3, and they definitely are. And yeah, their effects got revealed today, so we're going to be going through that. Let's start off with our Cross Rose Dragon. Oh, also, by the way, we got a Buster, Blader, Link as well, but we'll get there. So we'll start with Cross Rose Dragon. So it's like a crossbred rose, a bunch of different color rose. I love the design. It's a Dark Dragon Link effect monster. It's a Link 2 with 800 attack with a left and a bottom arrow. Okay, so no 2-down arrows, but it can be a transitional piece as well as opening a zone downward, which is nice. Its materials are any two monsters with different types. That's actually really nice. The whole goal, obviously, behind that is they're trying to get you to use a Rose Dragon, which is a dragon, and a plant monster. Two different types, right? But you can go a little more generic than that, which is pretty nice. Next up, both of its effects are hard once per turns, and you can use both in the same turn. The first effect says, during the main phase, quick effect, you contribute this card and one plant monster you control as cost to special summon one Rose Synchro or one Plant Synchro monster from your extra deck. This, is treated as a Synchro summon. That's pretty freaking strong. Your main three targets, obviously, Black Rose Dragon, that's the big one. Quick effect, Black Rosing your opponent on their turn is pretty good. And even going second, it's pretty good because like it can play around certain disruptions and stuff. But I really, really like that. This card's pretty spicy, not gonna lie. That's one of those things where when you look at Black Rose Dragon, it's clearly been so power crap. Still a powerful effect. I mean, Raigeki's still a powerful card, but like it's just too slow. And that's the same thing with Black Rose. It's just too slow. But then you integrate a new card in the archetype where they can do that on your opponent's turn. Not too slow, not good. It's actually pretty good, and you can just wipe a whole board. Speaking of which, its second effect is pretty nice. Oh, I'm sorry, Moonlight Black Rose Dragon, or Moonlight Rose Dragon as well, whatever it's called. The other one, I believe you can go into that one as well, or on summon it can like bounce a monster your opponent controls. It's pretty nice. And then as well as the Black Rose, the Maiden, the new Rose Maiden card. I forgot what her full name is, but it's the new one that came in the Legendary Duels from last year, Sisters of the Rose. Pretty good card, pretty interesting card. Searches like Black Garden, like on summon, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, the other thing that this card does, though, by the way, the second effect, if a monster or monsters you control is destroyed by card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card from grave to special summon one Rose Dragon monster from your graveyard. So this is specifically working in tandem with Black Rose Dragon, I believe, because you can quick effect use this to summon Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon on summon will destroy everything on the field, including itself. That means it's being destroyed by a card effect. Then this card will chain to banish itself to special summon the Black Rose back. So at least you get to keep your Black Rose on board. You're not just trading this card in your plant monster in to have nothing on your board. You're going to try and wipe the whole board and still keep get a Black Rose Dragon up, which is pretty good overall. And then it's just protection for like the other ones, but really, really solid card. I love that it's generic. This could be a really interesting card, even for just like straight plant builds, because there are ways to just summon this without having to use Rose Dragons, and then just use it to quick effect out Black Roses and Moonlights and the other girl as well. So definitely going to keep an eye on this card. Definitely interested in Rose Dragons for sure. Next up, we have World Keymaster Lib, the next form of Ib. She's pretty cool. I like her design. She is a light Cybers Link effect monster, Link 2 with 2,000 attack with a left and a bottom left arrow. So kind of similar areas to this, where you open up a zone downer, but you also can be used in transitionally to open up a zone from down below, which is pretty nice. It's completely generic. It takes any two monsters, which is pretty dangerous, but we'll see where it goes. This card cannot be Link summoned unless there is a World Legacy card in your graveyard. You can only use the first and second effects per turn once each. So that's a very interesting stipulation, that you have to have a World Legacy card in graveyard first. I think this makes this a possible card to be possibly good in like Mech Knights, like pure Mech Knights, because they do play World Legacy's Memory as well as Succession. And if they use that and then you link it up into this could just get you extra advantage as well as removal. You'll see where this goes. But yeah, pretty cool. Not the craziest. I like the restriction. If you're going to make her completely generic, material wise, you got to make it so you have to do something first. You can only play her in certain decks built the right way. All right, first effect. During your main phase, you can set one World Legacy spell or trap directly from your deck to your field, but you cannot activate that card during this turn unless you have a World Legacy monster in your graveyard, which is pretty interesting because you can search a couple of normal spells, like I think Succession and stuff, but you wouldn't be able to activate them unless you already had a World Legacy monster. It's interesting that it has to be a monster specifically because technically it would be easier to get a World Legacy spell or trap engraved to you and make this in the first place, and it'd take a little something extra to get the monster engraved as well to get this free +1. I mean, really, this is like Ninja Grandmaster Saizo level of just once per turn set another copy of one of your in-archetype spell or traps. Pretty strong, no cost or anything. Really good. I like that effect a lot. And then the second effect, if this link summoned card is sent to the graveyard as a link material, you can shuffle one card on the field into the deck. That effect is like the icing on the cake. Like, even with just the first effect, it's a 2,000 beater. It opens up nice zones. It gets you a free +1. And then you add this effect, which is so good. This just gives such a nice piece of removal in like for almost anything. This is non-targeting, non-destruction removal of any card on the field, not just a monster. It's spell and traps too. It's not a bounce. So there are some situations, some decks where bouncing is not very good. Like against True Draco, bouncing anything is not really that good. But shuffling is very good. And so I really love this effect. That's what makes this card actually phenomenal to me. This is another thing like making me kind of excited for World Legacy. A really awesome card. This is such an awesome transitional card for them, getting them pluses as well as minusing your opponent's board at the same time. And then lastly here, we've got Companion Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. We have a Buster Blader Link monster, which is kind of crazy, but I dig it. I super dig it for sure. This is a light dragon, Link effect monster. Link 2, 400 attack with bottom left and bottom right arrows. Those quintessential, phenomenal open up zones arrows. It's completely generic. It takes any 2 monsters. That's pretty spicy because this is the deck. I would say this is definitely more than World Chalice. This is a deck that like you don't need restrictions on this. It's Buster Blader. Like we need to give them some more unfair stuff. And it's 2 effects that can both be activated in the same turn. All right, all 3 fall in the same suit. If this card is link summoned, you can send 1 Destruction Sword card from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can special summon 1 Buster Blader from your hand. Very good effect. If you don't know the way Buster Bladers works, they use a lot of their spell and traps and even their monsters to effects in the graveyard to either bring themselves back, either use effects, protection effects. You get a bunch of utility by dumping stuff into the graveyard. So this is a really nice card to see for the archetype there. And also getting unbricking Buster Bladers from your hand. I'm pretty sure I've seen deck lists where they don't even play 3 Buster Blader because it's already like such a brick. Like similar to Blue Eyes or Dark Magician, you don't really want to draw them that much. You want to get them out of the deck with other means, with your other turbo cards. And this card's kind of the same, but this just like specials it, just gets it right out, which is really nice and may deter you away from shying, like or may keep you from being shy to play more copies of Buster Blader, which is nice. And then the second phase, at the end of your battle phase, if your opponent controls no monsters, you can target one of your Buster Blader monsters that did not declare an attack during this turn as cost, and inflict damage equal to your opponent, equal to its attack. Not equal to your opponent, equal to the attack. Jeez. I read. I know how to read. I promise. That's a nice little bonus effect. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but if you don't know, like the main Buster Blader fusion boss monster cannot attack directly, I believe, and he gets huge, but you can't attack directly. So sometimes people can stall you by just like not even putting a monster on board. And if you can't like keep like summoning more stuff and linking up and making like plays to like apply more pressure, your opponent's just going to sit there and say, I'm just going to wait till I draw an out to your big boy, and then you lose. And so like this kind of just helps that. It helps apply a lot of pressure. And keep in mind like that fusion can get upwards to 5,000, 6,000 before that I've seen before, which is really high, especially for this effect to just be like, oh, it's the end of the battle phase, 5,000 to your face. Can be pretty good to just, you know, really help make your opponent feel the heat, which this deck obviously wants to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it here. I love how they're doing this. So I want to make a note of this. Is I love how they're going about this. They're making the effects very specific to the archetype, right? Like destruction, like companion whelp, very good, but it really only helps Buster Blader. Maybe changes what you can play in Buster Blader, but it's being played in Buster Blader, right? Lib, I should say here. She has a very nice, generic, like amazing shuffle effect when she's linked off, but it has to be in a deck that you can put World Legacy card in your graveyard to begin with, and if you even want that plus, you got to put World Legacy monster as well. So again, it takes requirements in your main deck that you have to have going into it, which is cool. And then same thing with Crossroads Dragon. It's generic to make, but its effects specifically are to make Black Rose Dragon, Moonlight Dragon, the Maiden, and Float from there as well. So I really love what they're doing here. I think all three of these are a hit. Whether, like, even if they're not going to be competitively great, they take these archetypes that need the help. Buster Blader, all three of these honestly need the help, and I think all these do a great job at assisting those. I'm really curious to see how much better these get, though. We've seen Buster Blader bubble before, like YCS's bubble, like YCS bubbles. We've seen World Chalice float around. It was good, like, over a year ago and stuff. We'll see if this can give it an assistance there, and then we'll see if anything happens with Rose Dragons on a more rogue level. But I'm still really excited to see where they go. Guys, let me know your thoughts on these three cards. Let me know if I missed anything, if I'm missing any applications. I'm not a particular savant of any of these three decks, so obviously I might be missing something here or there. And other than that, I'm pumped. I love all three of these. I think they're all bangers. So thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.